approach. You have on one side the question related to health, which is top priority during this pandemic. But you have on the other side as well the economy that has to run, otherwise you will have an impact in the health system as well. Not only in terms of people that do not have resources to buy their food, but as well increasing other kinds of illnesses. Some people are talking about all over the world, not only in Brazil, but they are talking about, because of this isolation and social distancing that we are taking, people are talking about more stress, more depression, more anxiety on a number of people, which is natural, you know. So I think this strike between health, tackling health during this pandemic, which is important, and at the same time trying to keep economy, mostly for those that are more vulnerable, those that have low income, those that need these resources to work. Another input that the federal government has given is the fact that there has been an assistance, an important assistance to those informal workers. So they are receiving from the government an important support to buy food. Otherwise, they would, face, as I said, hunger, which is something that we cannot accept. So it's not easy. It's not easy. And there is another aspect as well that has to do with culture. And I think that Brazil and Turkey were very similar in this regard. Brazilians are very physical, you know. We hug.
Here, like that.
We hug. We like to be with our families, with our friends, our beloved ones. So this situation in which you are recommended to stay at home, social distancing, isolation, is very stressful. You know, it's very stressful, and you have to manage this. You know, I think that thanks to the policies of the federal government, the state and municipal governments, Brazil is tackling very well the situation. We are beginning to see a plateau. We're beginning to see a plateau. There are some regions where hospitals are stressed because there are many people coming and have to be treated. There are other places that are managing better the situation. As I said, it has to do as well with the differences. Great job. Take into account the situation, you know, everybody's suffering. The other day I was looking some reports and I was staggering to say that, to see that some countries are projecting an 8% downfall in their gross national product, and even more. You see the numbers of people applying for social security and support because they have lost their jobs. You know, the other day I saw a lady in one country, I can't remember exactly which one was that, and she was collecting food that was given by an NGO that was assisting poor people. And she said, I am not poor, but I lost my job. I don't have money, so I have to come here and collect this food for my family. So this kind of thing, you know, the balance between trying to cope this pandemic and trying to keep economy working in a way that these more vulnerable people are less affected, it's not an easy one. There is not one to strike its balance. And I think all countries are beginning to do that. There are countries that begin to say that they're going to open a little bit. Some have already established some targets in terms of dates, and that's what we are trying to do in Brazil, the same thing. And that's the main concern of our president.
Now, let's come to economy, even though you open the field for us already. Yeah. Now, today I read something. I didn't have a chance to check it out if it's an official governmental response from Turkey or not, but some media, not social media actually, internet media already put it on. I don't have it with me right now, but just a sec, maybe. I'm so sorry because I want to read it to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I find it, but I didn't confirm it. I didn't check a lot sources, but it looks like after Bayram, right? I think it ends on 27th of May. We are getting, as Turkey, between 27th of May till 31st of August, the first period of normalization. Then September 1st till December 31st, second phase of normalization. Of course, if everything goes, as planned. Then between 1st of January till 1st of January next year, third phase of normalization. And let's come to the short while, right? Between here to August, actually after Bayram and August, it is planned to reopen restaurants, but in a short time being, not security protocols, and seek for this from the restaurants, from the people who are going over there, and some shopping centers, etc. Now, of course, people need this. And when I look at all over the world, looks like starting from the beginning of June, everybody wants to put their country on track slowly. Yeah. Actually, not that slow, in a midstream, let's say, right? So my question to you is this: what is the proposed economy opening process in Brazil, in your perspective? How Brazil is going to manage the upcoming couple months? I'm not, wondering so long if everything goes normal. Plus, economies are affected from this, right? Yeah, no country can ever say we did not get affected. Everybody is affected from this. Because when you don't go out, as you just mentioned, the economy doesn't work. So, long word short, how Brazil is going to recover from this process?
Yeah. Well, there is a debate in Brazil nowadays, and it's an important one. The other day, I listened to the Minister of Health, Nelson Take, and he said, we are going to examine the numbers. We are going to examine how is the situation in different parts of Brazil. And according to these numbers, according to statistics, so some states, like São Paulo, for instance, have already announced that they are going to begin to open gradually. So they are going to open some small businesses, some areas. Exactly how they are going to do, they have not yet done so. Because I think they are checking numbers and they are debating, and this is a very important, and it's common in democracies like our countries, that there is a debate between the states, the federal government, how we're going to do, how we're going to open. And as I said, each region and each state maybe will tackle differently because of its own situation, its peculiarities, But as I said, there is caution. The top priority is health. And of course, to open up the economy as much as necessary, to keep it going, and to help the most vulnerable people. the ones that are really in need because of their situation, personal situation of people that cannot do their business outside the streets because they are because they have been not working. And top priority on health and tackling the best way we can this tragic pandemic that is affecting and creating challenges to all of us, to all countries in our world.
Now, I have a lot of questions, but we are getting into our last 13 minutes. So before taking too long, I'm going to finish with just Brazil and the region, then I'm going to come to Turkey-Brazil relationship. So let me ask this question first. Brazil and the neighbors, Brazil and United States, how do you consider the political and economical relationship of Brazil between the close neighbors, let's say Latin American countries, South American countries, and then with United States?
Look, I think that one important feature that is very relevant in our Brazilian policies towards our different friends in the world is the fact that, of course, South America, our neighbors, they're very important to us. We have built up our country and we have agreed on borders through diplomacy, which has taken Brazil to a situation that we do not participate in any war except World War II, that we sent soldiers to Europe. We do not have any kind of war for more than 100 years, and this is a very important thing. We are a peaceful country. So our neighbors are very important, and we have links, strategic links of cooperation, economy. We have Mercosur. We have a number of fora. Relations between Brazil and the U.S. have gone very well. They're going very, very well. There are many projects that have begun to be implemented. Our relations with Europe are very important. As I said to you, European Union, we have agreed on a free trade agreement very recently. It's going to be put in force, I hope, during this year. Let's hope for that. And we have between Brazil and Turkey very special relations. We established, we signed, I try to say to everyone here, Brazilians and friends from Turkey, first of all, we are very sophisticated economies, both of our countries. I have a feeling ways is confirmed. We export to Turkey a number of products, and we import a number of products. In some fields, like iron and steel, there are iron and steel that we export and that we import from Turkey. Chemicals, the same thing. Machinery, in a situation, in a world that is, I think, advisable that we diversify our partnerships, it's very important that we strengthen our ties. We have both of us, both of our countries to gain with that. We are emerging countries. We want to have a more important voice in world affairs, both of us. I think we are regional powerhouses. We have a saying. Very sophisticated and important economies. So I think that we are moving towards this, and I hope so. We had reached in 2018 around 4 billion US dollars of exchange between our countries, trade exchange. There are 100,000 Brazilians that come to Turkey as tourists. We have investments here in Turkey. Turkey has investments in Brazil. I think it's a matter of getting down and trying to get to know each other and better, and to move forward and strengthen our ties. So, in a very few and short overview, I think that all these relations make Brazil, my country, looking around for partnerships, for solidarity. I think the more business we do, the more we sell, the more we import, we are going to create jobs. We are going to create, opportunities for both countries. And I think this, of course, is very positive. Our consulate and myself in particular, we have been working very hard on that.
Now, you open a very good topic again. So these are going to be my last two questions. Actually, not my two questions. One of our great students has these questions here. I'm going to put them in front of you in a couple seconds if I manage to do that. But let me give you an example. I totally agree with you. For instance, when I was watching with my dad, when Turkey is not in the games, the World Cup or whatever, ask me which team do you support? I support Brazil. Why? I like it. Ask it to my father. He is already late. 20 years ago, he passed away. But father, which team do you support? He says, if Turkey is not in the games, Brazil. Why? I like it. Now, when you go out and ask a lot of people, people love Brazil. That's a hard thing to accomplish. But Brazil has a very positive image on a lot of countries. So does in Turkey. Now, that's a good beginning. That's a good start. But now Zubair, a great student of mine, has two questions, which we're going to end our great conversation with that two questions. The first one is coming. You already told a little bit about this, but he's asking, what are the import products for import or export between Turkey and Brazil? He says. You already mentioned a couple of them, but if you need a little bit of list, what do we buy from Brazil mainly? What do we sell to Brazil? And more than everything, what is the trade volume between two countries? Then his second question is coming.
Okay. Just before answering, I forgot to say in this very rapid overview that, of course, we have great relations with Asian countries and with African countries. We have a lot of interests there as well. It comes from our origins, but economic ties that we have with these countries, with Australia, New Zealand. We are a globetrotter. That's an important feature of Brazil. But the main products, going to your question, the main Turkish products are chemicals, parts of vehicles, machinery. I'm trying to think of machinery.
When you mean machinery, especially about what field we are talking about?
Different fields. It applies to electronic. It applies to different fields. Okay. Turkey is very developed, in producing mechanical devices and machinery in general. And what's interesting is that Brazil the possibility of being important complementary partners. I think because we complement each other. Edible fruits and nuts. We have wonderful nuts from Brazil, from Turkey. Thanks God, because of course I have the pleasure to eat them fresh here, but in Brazil we have this privilege. Textiles, it's important. Steel, we
both ways, right?
Yeah, different types of steels. We import from Turkey. The main products that Brazil exports to Turkey it begins with live animals. I like very much steakhouses. You know, I am a meat eater, lover, and I once was in one of these steakhouses, and I said, you know, most probably the meat we are eating here is binational, and the general manager did not understand, and I said, well, because most probably it's a live animal that came from Brazil. It grew. It was created here in Turkey. It grew fat and very healthy, and then of course it went to our table. So it has the stamp of Brazil and Turkey, you know. So it's a binational meat. The second product, which is very important, is steel as well in iron. We sell a lot of iron pellets for the Turkish industry, and sometimes tobacco, coffee. Coffee, of course. Turkey is a very important consumer of coffee, and one important part of the coffee that you import is from Brazil. We have as well some appliances, mechanical appliances, and pharmaceutical products. The level of our trade has reached around 4 billion in 2018. Unfortunately, it went down a little bit in 2019. And now let's see, you know, how it evolves. But we're going to work as soon as this pandemic is overcome, and I'm sure we're going to overcome it with determination and solidarity. We're going to.
Last question is coming from our friend again, as I promised. Now, the question is this: what do you suggest Turkish people who search for investments to Brazil? Now, let me rephrase this question with my, additions. I have a lot of students who would like to form their international trade business, right?
Yeah.
Question one: if you were a Turkish businessman who would like to invest in business, what would be the main thing you would trade to Brazil? I'm not talking about the ones we already do. What is needed in Brazil? Two, if you want to invest a direct investment in Brazil, what would be the best field and best way to do that? Last question.
Oh, that's a great question. You know, one thing that I think nowadays the great opportunity in Brazil, we are lacking behind in terms of investments that we should have done. So, and we are doing. We began to do. President Bolsonaro started, you know, to create a number of incentives and public-private partnership, which has created some stimulus for this type of investment, which is very important. So I think that Turkey has a great experience in this field. We have roads to be built and managed. You have experience on that, and a very important one. We have bridges to be done. We have ports here as well. Airports. You have one of the most important, if not the most important airport in the world. You know, you have experience on that as well. So I think there are many opportunities that are being created in Brazil nowadays. And as soon as we go through this pandemic, I'm sure that this kind of thing is going to get again importance and will be tackled immediately because we need urgently. I would say that these companies in Turkey that have this experience are mostly welcome in Brazil. The second thing is, I told you about the environment. I think the environment now in Brazil is much more positive. We have created many flexibilities, and we are trying to smooth down, this regulatory framework that we had that was not positive. This has been tackled in a very drastic way, and we are creating opportunities to everybody. Because the main attitude that we have, the main positive attitude that we have is, it will contribute to development, and at the same time, of course, these people are going to do good business for them.
Thank you so much for everything. Now, Mr. Paolo Franca is a great friend of our university. He attended several programs for years in Bahçeşehir Global Leadership Forums and School of Diplomacy in a lot of different forums. As I said, more than a diplomat, he's a friend to